The lost episode of Peppa Pig that never aired. In the quiet, familiar home of Peppa Pig, the morning began as usual. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, illuminating the bunk bed where Peppa and George slept. Peppa, on the top bunk, stretched sweetly, while George, on the bottom, snored softly. Mummy Pig was making breakfast, the aroma of pancakes filling the air. Daddy Pig was reading the newspaper, chuckling at some article. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. At breakfast, George suddenly became unusually quiet. He usually ate noisily, but today he only chewed his food slowly, his gaze fixed on a spot on the wall. Peppa tried to talk to him, but he didn't respond. Mummy Pig looked at him worriedly, but Daddy Pig waved it off, saying George was probably just tired. At the playground, Susie Sheep and Pedro Pony were playing tag. George sat on the swing, motionless like a statue. His usual cheerful laughter was absent. When Peppa called him to play, he only slowly turned his head, his eyes seeming empty, devoid of their usual mischief. He didn't want to play, didn't want to talk. He just sat, swaying on the swing like a pendulum, counting invisible time. In the evening, as Peppa and George were getting ready for bed, Peppa noticed that George hadn't hugged his dinosaur. This was unheard of. The dinosaur was always with him. She tried to give him the toy, but George just pushed her hand away. His face was completely emotionless. Peppa felt a chill run down her spine. This wasn't her George. The next day, George became even more distant. He stopped responding to questions. His movements became mechanical. He walked around the house like a ghost. His presence felt, but he himself seemed absent. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig began to argue about his behaviour. Their voices grew louder, and George just stood in the middle of the room, paying no attention to them. Peppa decided to talk to Rebecca Rabbit. Rebecca, always sensible, listened carefully. She spoke of strange rumours circulating at school, about children who suddenly changed, becoming indifferent, losing themselves. She mentioned an old abandoned radio tower on the outskirts of town, from which, it was rumoured, strange, almost inaudible sounds emanated. Peppa, consumed by anxiety, decided to investigate herself. Under the cover of night, while everyone slept, she quietly slipped out of the house. The moon lit her path to the abandoned tower. The closer she got, the stronger the strange buzzing became, penetrating directly into her brain. She saw George. He stood at the base of the tower, his figure illuminated by a dim light. He didn't move, just stood, his eyes fixed upwards into the darkness. From the tower came a monotonous, hypnotic whisper that seemed to envelop him. Peppa tried to call him, but her voice caught in her throat.